everyone, Digital David here. Today in this video, I'm going to be checking out the Thermaltake Tower 300 case. This is available in multiple color options. We have the Hydrangea Blue Edition here. Thermaltake did send me this product, but any opinion expressed in this video is strictly my own. That being said, if you're interested in this product or you want to find out more about it, the link to it will be in the video description. Here's a look at the retail box and packaging. Everything looks great. This is a micro tower if you're wondering what the case type is, and they have more specs for you right here and what's able to fit and how you can expand and build out your PC. Micro-ATX motherboards is what you're going to want to use with this build. Here's a look at all the other sides, and now we're back to the front or the back. Who knows? Anyways, now let's go ahead, let's open it up and see what's inside. Here are all the contents. First up, we have our product literature consisting of our user guide and manual right here, walking us through the table of contents, everything that's included. You have all the specs of the case right there. Then they walk you through different specs in regards to dimensions, compatibility, lengths, how to remove certain components, how to install certain components. But everything's very detailed and thorough with helpful measurements, charts, and diagrams. Next, you'll see our warranty information, followed by a couple different brackets. This is in case you want to pick up the LCD display. You have the panel and adapter right there, and it matches everything. This plastic bracket goes inside the case. We'll look at that in a minute. Then we have some hardware kits here with some clips, as well as our screws, buzzer, and we have some cable ties. And then last but not least, we have the case itself. Let's look at this in more detail. First things first, let's look at the top of the case here. Metal mesh grating with two fans inside. Backside of it right here, you can pop open to remove the cover. On the front, we got the 25th anniversary logo, and then we have all of our I/O right there, front and center. Now you're looking at it with the top removed and our two included cooling fans. And we have some cable management channels for routing along the back side here. And here's a look at the cover on the inside. Next, we're looking at one of the sides right here. It's the right-hand side if you're looking at the tempered glass front panel. So it's just a strong magnet that has everything securely in place. So you can grab this lip right here. You may or may not be able to pop it up easily. Take a look at that, just those two strong magnets there, and then the lip at the bottom, revealing the inside there with plenty of room to mount additional cooling. Now we're looking at the other side, same thing. It's gonna be those strong magnets up at the top to pop it open, to remove, revealing a lot of room in here to actually do some of our building and get access to our GPU and some of our other I/O cables right there, and our power supply down below. Now looking at the very back, we have our cutout for our power supply down here, and then we have this little lip that we can pop open again, revealing our back cover and panel. This is also magnetic and removable for easy cleaning. And here's a look at the back side. Some grommets here, cable management channels down the side. I really like that. Power supply bracket, our I/O right there. If we want to mount some hard drives or SSDs, we can do that. And we have another channel up at the top here to route as needed. Now it's time to look at the very bottom. We have our four legs right here. Get a feel for the clearance if you want to set this on carpets or a hard floor. The width that you have for some airflow. And then we have a removable screen right here and filter to clean and replace as needed. And there's our access to the bottom of the case. And now the front of the case with our tempered glass panel that we can remove. There's a press indicator right there built into the top cover. So if you press right here, it clicks open, and then we can gently pop that out and take a look at the inside here. Look at all that room. Standoff's already installed, our two cooling fans already installed. GPU's gonna go right here. So it's a small but mighty case, and then we have all of our I/O again up at the top right there for easy access. Now let's go ahead and get our PC built. Ta-da, we got our PC built. Everything came together really nicely, and I gotta say, this is one of my favorite PC cases I've ever built in. I really like how this looks. It was just a lot of fun because it was different, not challenging, just different. Also, I went ahead, I'm using a Gigabyte AIO that's white here, but I swapped out the fans with some matching Hydrangea Blue fans here, and I'm really happy with that choice. The more blue and white I can get in this build, the better. So we will be swapping out the power supply and the GPU at a later date, so it can be behind me here on display. But let's go ahead, let's take a look at this build up close. How can you not like this case? The build looks so cool. It's just so unique and different. Let's go over some of the parts. We're rocking the ASRock. This is the B76M Pro RS motherboard. Gonna be Intel LGA 1700. We have a 12400 in here. DDR4 from T-Force. Gigabyte Aorus AIO. We swapped out the fans with those 3 Thermaltake fans, and they're all magnetically connected, which is awesome. So we have one single cable routed down and below. Gigabyte RTX 4070 Super. Look at this. Up at the top, we got our HDMI cable back there, our 2.5 gig LAN port in use, and 2 USB devices plugged in, a keyboard and a mouse. Take a look down below, how we connected everything and routed everything. It turned out great. And here's a peek at it from the side. Look at that, I love it. HD audio, shout out to you. Front panel connector. Look at that. And here's a look at the back side, how we have all of our cables routed through the top there. Power supply down at the bottom. And here's that back cover removed, so you can see all the space. We still have to add a bunch of drives. Cable management along the sides. Came out super clean. All of our other cables on the other side, our fans and everything. Look at all that space back there. Now let's talk about this case's performance. So everything's just booted up at idle. Let's look at some temps. So our CPU coming in right at around 24 degrees Celsius. And again, this is the Intel 12400. And our GPU, our Gigabyte RTX 4070 Ti, is coming in right at around 33 degrees Celsius. Now let's go ahead, let's stress this out and see how hot everything gets. All right, now it's been over 10 minutes with everything maxed out. Let's see the results. So for our CPU, we're only at 45 degrees Celsius and we peaked at our 65 watt threshold. I believe that's the default for this CPU from Intel. We have not done any overclocking or anything along those lines. So no issues there, but that's as expected with this massive cooler that we have on it. Now looking at our GPU, this is great too. 99% utilization, and we've only peaked at around 67 degrees Celsius. So keeping everything nice and cool in this case with how we have everything laid out. Now it's time for my favorite test. We're gonna do an airflow test here with just the smoke to visualize what it looks like as the cool air comes in and passes up and out through this case. So let's go ahead. We're gonna start where we have all of our intake right here through our AIO. So let's blast it with some smoke and see what we get. All right, as expected, all of that is coming in here and being exhausted out the top with our 2 exhaust fans there. Not much leaking out the side here because again, that's the GPU pulling in its own cool air on this side. So let's do that side. Same thing. GPU's bringing in cool air, exhausting all the warm air out the top. That's super satisfying. And back to this side, I'm gonna blast some smoke here just so you can see how it's able to pull that cool air in, even through the radiator. So if you get a feel for that, it is bringing air around and in through here. With that bottom fan too, what's interesting is through the smoke, you can't see on the backside, but some of that is exhausting out the power supply, which is actually a good thing too. So that bottom fan being a little bit lower in the case is actually helping to push some of that cool air right to the back of our power supply, which does have venting along the bottom, so no big deal there, but that's kind of an added bonus to help make sure that stays nice and cool. And one last time for science. That's awesome. Now let me share with you my final thoughts after building and using this case. Out of probably the 30 to 50 cases that I've personally built in, I gotta say this has been the one that's brought me the most joy and I've liked the best. It's definitely my favorite case. I love the color, but I really like the design, and it just made the build process fun and different again, which I really appreciated. Now, the build quality is great. I love how everything looks and how it all came together. Now, what would I want to see improved or changed with this in the future? Well, there are a couple of things. First, I'm glad they included 2 fans, but I wish they were RGB. That would be really nice to have those be RGB. I know they're up at the top and you can't really see them, so I understand. But again, just to have that as RGB would be great. And to give us those fans in the Hydrangea Blue color to case match the color with those fans, just like the ones that we got extra, would be a welcomed addition. Other than that, I noticed, maybe you'll never have this issue, but since I've been filming with this, I actually had to take the back panel off with the PC on. And you can't, well, you can, but there's the power cable in the back, if that makes sense. So we have all of our cabling back here, so if you wanted to pop this off really quick and keep your PC running, it's just kind of goofy. So you don't want to unplug the power supply cable. So at least the cutout's big, but that's just something else I noticed. You may never, ever even notice that when you're using this case. And then lastly, because it looks so cool, there is that compromise of having your cables plugged in and connected at the top. So just keep that in mind. You'll have to kind of route everything down, out, and through your PC from the top. So it's not the most convenient to be able to quickly plug things in or out. So if that's something you frequently do, you will live and die by your front panel connection options, and you only basically have 3 USB ports, 2 Type A and 1 Type C. So that's the compromise for something this cool, is having to make sure you're utilizing all these, and if that's not enough, you will have to pop the cover off every time and fish your cables to and from. But overall, count me impressed. I love this thing.